It's easy to do. We could spend $5 on a coffee and a cake on the way to and from work. We could spend $30 on a pizza or some takeaway food that we order when we come in at night and we're tired and we're hungry and we just can't be bothered. We can't be faffed to cook anything to eat. So we make a phone call, we open the door to the delivery driver and we pay the $30 for the food, probably another $5 for a tip, maybe more, and we are out of pocket. Not that we feel it, we can crash out in front of the television and we're happy that we've got some nice hot food. We might not even eat it all, we might not save what we don't eat and put it in the fridge. We might throw what's left over away, and we've really wasted more money on impulse spending. At the weekend, we could spend $10 on a car wash rather than wash the car ourselves. Or you could call an Uber when you want to head into town to do a little bit of shopping, instead of waiting an extra 5 minutes, jumping on a bus, jumping on the tube system, and getting to the same place in a few minutes longer, but with it costing you 1/10 of the price. How about shopping for things that aren't food and not coffee? Things like open pages that you have on your phone or your laptop. You kept the page open, you've got an item in the basket, and it's so easy to click on it at night when you're lying in your bed and you think, oh, I could do with that thing. And you press order and it gets delivered the following day or a few days later, and you get that excitement of knowing you've got something in the post on its way to you, which you can look forward to. The weather forecast tomorrow is terrible. Let's not go into town. Let's not go to the shopping centre or the department store. Let's just have the item delivered to the house and be done with the hassle and the aggro of leaving the house on a rainy day. When somebody will deliver it, we can catch an extra movie, and life seems really simple. If you want to stop impulse spending, you could scare yourself into it by looking at your bank account. On the other hand, if you don't want to do that and you don't want to face the detail of the process, let's look at some of the things that make impulse spending easy and repetitive, and something that we fall into almost as a trap again and again and again. So much of the impulse spending that you and I do, and I've done plenty of it, is a function of the unconscious mind. We can buy things easily with the click of a button on our phone, or we can pop in somewhere when we are tired, when we are under the weather, and we want that little boost. We want that sense of, oh, that's nice, that's pretty, let me get that in my bag, whether it's in a digital basket or in my bag on the way home from work, and it's a little comfort factor. Part of the process of impulse spending being an unconscious thing is we don't stop long enough to consider what the real cost of the item actually is. A coffee and a piece of cake, or a coffee and some chocolate, or a coffee and a snack bar on the way in and on the way out of work every day. Let's say that's £5 in each direction. That's $10 a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks of the year when you're spending money at that very little level of just $10 a day. That's $2,500 in a year. What could you do with the extra $2,500? I'm guessing that perhaps if you stop and think about it, you can find an alternative use for that amount of money. Speaking of coffee, how much might you be spending in a week on trinkets? And by trinkets, I mean little things that cost $10, $15, $20, $30, but it's easy to buy them because you see them, you're exposed to them, you think, oh, I'll have that little item. It could be a t-shirt, it could be some earrings, some jewellery, some gloves, it could be some beauty accessories, some skincare products. It's easy to spend $50 in a week without even thinking about it, over and above your normal food spend and your shopping spend. But $50 a week, that's $2,600 a year. Add that to the $2,500 you're spending on coffee and chocolate, or coffee and snack foods, and there's $5,000 gone straight away before you even think about conscious spending. You and I know why we spend money impulsively. It's predominantly because it makes us feel good. It gives us that dopamine effect, that kind of instant high or an emotional rush, a boost to our senses that makes us feel happy and nice. In this sense, our online shopping basket is our actual friend, because it gives us things that we want and we feel happy accepting those things, because I need that chocolate, or I need that t-shirt, and you need that skincare or those t-shirt products that you buy in the marketplace that you don't need because you've got 20 in the wardrobe at home. But you feel great because it's something new and it's pretty. And for a few days, maybe for a few weeks even, you can get value out of it by thinking, oh, this is still my new item. This is still my recently purchased thing that I can talk about and I can show to friends and tell friends about. So we're spending money impulsively. Our bank balance goes down every week by a certain amount of habitual impulsive spending. What can we do about it? What kind of rescue strategies can we put in place? What can we do to help ourselves to be less impulsive with our spending and more thoughtful with the way that money passes through our hands? Here are some ideas. What else might we do to get that same positive feeling, that same lift, that emotional boost without impulsively spending? Could you stream a movie at home, still with some snack treats, but you bought the snack treats as part of your regular weekly supermarket shop and you're not paying over the odds for them? You're buying them in multi-packs and you've got them in the fridge, you've got them in the cupboards, and you say to yourself, I'm going to watch a film on Friday night, I'm going to make sure that I've got the right food in the cupboard to enjoy when the film is on. Could you go to a social event with a housemate or a family member? How about a candlelit bath with nice music and a glass of wine, just giving yourself time and attention, but you have to plan it, you have to run the bath, you have to enjoy your evening and enjoy your own company. How about a neighbourhood night out with some friends where you're going to spend money, but that money is a conscious choice and you haven't spent money randomly during the week, so that money is still available to you to do with what you want. Perhaps you can say to yourself, right, I'm going to have a massage next week. The cost of the massage is $50. I can save that by not spending $10 a day impulsively, and yet I can have this beautiful treat for myself, a really special sensual experience that I can enjoy, and there's nothing impulsive about it. It's about putting you first and enjoying the moment, enjoying the opportunity to treat yourself to something where you feel special, you still get that emotional boost, but none of it is impulsive spending. What could you put in your diary in the next 30 days that is a real treat for yourself and is the value of perhaps half of those $10 a day impulsive spends? Let's say there's 20 something days in your working month, that's $200. Could you put $100 of that into a special event? It could be an evening out, it could be a dinner, it could be an experience with friends, but you've paid for it by not spending money impulsively in the lead up to that nice event, to that treat for yourself and your friends. If those largely emotional responses to the benefits of spending don't work for you, try this. Try a logical left brain approach instead. Let's look at some numbers. How would you fare if instead of spending those $50 a week on casual trinkets and the bits and pieces that you pick up during the course of the week, apart from your domestic shopping and food bill spending, what could you do with that $2,600? Well, if you had it in a savings account or an investment account and you got 8% a year, after the first year you'd have £2,808. After the second year, £3,032. The third year, £3,274. At the end of the sixth year, but realistically probably more likely with compound interest working in a stronger way and other opportunities presenting themselves, you'd end up at the end of year 6 with $4,123. Is that boring or is that exciting? How you respond to that might also inform your spending patterns going forward. Instead of impulsive purchases, you could say to yourselves, okay, I've got that extra money every year. If you can reduce your impulsive spending just by $200 a month, could that $200 a month go towards your monthly travel costs? Could it go towards a holiday savings account? Could it go towards vehicle repairs once or twice a year because you've got the money set aside, because you've made provision? Not all. Some of your impulsive spending, you're managing to reduce it, but you're creating a little surplus that can be usefully siphoned off into other things that you want, which are larger cost items. A large item for the house, a new bed, some new furniture for the living room, a repair to your car, the ability to have a holiday and enjoy it next year, because you're putting aside a few $100s every month that you have found easily by reducing, not completely eliminating, by reducing some of your impulse spending. The conscious and the unconscious approaches to how you are allocating that money that you're currently spending impulsively can really make a difference in the way you go forward with your personal finances. Do you feel that your impulsive spending is something that is out of control completely, or that you can regulate it, you can bring it under control and be aware of where your money goes and what you do with it day by day? Consider to what extent you're worried about the way that money is passing through your hands, whether it's $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 that you're spending over the course of a year impulsively and then regretting it after the initial boost and a happy feeling that you have from using that money on those short-term purchases. Here are some practical strategies that could help you take control of your impulsive spending and actually get to the point where you can stop it. If you find that you're spending a lot of money on your phone and it's an impulsive purchase that you a few days later probably think, I shouldn't have bought that, I didn't really get much value from it, remove the credit card links from your phone and keep your card in a physical space away from, for example, your bed or your sofa, if that's where you do your shopping, so that you have to physically get up and go and look for the access codes to make an online purchase. Unsubscribe from catalogue newsletters, unsubscribe from department store offers, unsubscribe from big online digital retailers, so that you have to go in there consciously every now and again to make the purchases that you choose to make, because you know that they will bring a real benefit, and what you're going to buy is a good use of your money because you're spending your money thoughtfully rather than impulsively. On an afternoon or an evening where you come out of work and you manage to walk past the coffee shop that you often pop into, or you avoid the snack bar at work where you would traditionally spend $5 or $10 or $15 on food that is perhaps not what you really need, but it's what you emotionally benefit from, that little sugar rush in the cake or the chocolate or whatever it is. Could you, at the end of the week, think, right, on 3 occasions I avoided that spending habit, so I'm going to put those 3 units of money into a separate bank account, which is more difficult for me to access. For example, you could transfer the money digitally into a physical cash book account, or a bank account where you have to go to a branch to access that money 2 or 3 times a year. But you build up several $1,000s worth of cash deposits that you can access intentionally when you're ready to do so. Lastly, just see that each of these approaches to spending money, they are emotionally based. And if you can get to a point where you are making your purchasing decisions a little bit more logically, a little bit more consciously, you will see the difference in that your impulsive spending will go down, and your ability to save and to think consciously about what you do with your money will become a much more obvious part of your strategy for using and enjoying the money that you have. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a money counselor, and keep reviewing in your diary how you're spending your money and the link between how you feel and the money that you spend. As I said at the start of the video, it's easy to spend money impulsively because it's easy to spend money when we feel emotional. Whether that's an emotional high or a low, be conscious of it. Take your diary for the next 30 days and track your daily spending, but also annotate by the side of that how I feel, how I felt that day, that night, that morning when I spent that $100, $7, $48, and what I spent it on, so that you have a diary that you can see where your mood is taking you with your wallet when you go into a shop or you go online on your phone and you purchase something because you need it, because you want it, because you felt like it was just something you could do with that day. And start to look at those numbers, and at the end of the 30 days, and say to yourself, okay, now I know my spending patterns and my behaviors and the link between my moods and my emotions. I can spend in a certain direction, or I can reduce the amount of impulsive spending and say to myself, okay, 2 or 3 times a week instead of 5 or 6 or 7 times a week, I can let myself buy something that will make me feel a little bit better, a little bit happier, that will lift my mood, that will boost how I feel about myself, but I won't do that every day. That alone could improve your bank balance by reducing by 50% the amount that you spent on impulse last month. The other thing that we looked at was how you might logically say, okay, what is the alternative value of this $50 I'm spending today, or that $2,500 or $5,000 I could have spent in a year, but instead I'm choosing to put it into something for home improvement, or I'm buying myself a holiday. Find a value that is important to yourself, and you can see that as a motivator or as an uplifter, that you can think, right, if I don't spend this on coffee or chocolate or treats this week, instead I can put that money into my savings account and I can look forward to a holiday for the first time in a while next year, or I can improve the quality of the holiday, or I can improve the quality of my retirement savings account. I can reduce my debts. I can make my vehicle safer than it is at the moment by just enhancing a couple of features for my greater benefit. Being aware of the emotional link between your spending and the items that you're purchasing, that will save you thousands of dollars a year. Having said that, if you still feel that your spending is out of control, that you would like to get support and help, look for, within your local authority, look for a money advice support line. Look for a money counselling centre. Consider getting some personal one-to-one support from a qualified professional in your area. You don't have to go through this on your own. Being conscious of it is really important, and whether you seek to do this on your own or you will go and get help, knowing what your spending is for the next 30 days will put you in a place where you can at least show yourself what is happening and make it clear to yourself what your impulsive spending is really costing you because of what it means you cannot do with larger items. Or you can share it with a qualified professional, say, this has been my spending behavior over the last 30 or 60 or 90 days, and this is where I feel I could do with some help. You'll find your own way forward with this by becoming conscious, by tracking your spending and how you feel on those days when you make impulsive purchases. Becoming aware of that will aid your positive money journey and put you in a better place $1 at a time and 1 day at a time. Best of luck with your journey.